We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. While it's motivating to tie our identity to our habits, this notion can be overwhelming. It suggests that any lapse in our routines diminishes who we are, ignoring the fact that humans are imperfect and life's unpredictability can disrupt even our best intentions. Instead of fixating on constant excellence, allow yourself flexibility. Embrace progress over perfection and understand that habits take time to build. Be gentle with yourself when setbacks occur and celebrate small victories along the way. First we make our habits, then our habits make us. This quote implies a linear path where we have full control over shaping ourselves, which isn't always the case. External factors and unforeseen events can heavily influence our habits and, consequently, who we become. Acknowledge that while you can influence your habits, adaptability is crucial. Be open to changing your routines when needed, and focus on developing resilience alongside consistency. Life requires a balance between structure and flexibility. Successful people are simply those with successful habits. Reducing success to just habits oversimplifies the challenges people face. It overlooks systemic issues and personal circumstances that can hinder success, no matter how good one's habits are. Define success on your own terms rather than adhering to a one-size-fits-all model. Recognize the external factors at play and focus on habits that bring you personal fulfillment, not just societal notions of success. The chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. This perspective can make habits seem like traps we unknowingly fall into, fostering a sense of helplessness. It can discourage people from attempting change, believing it's already too late. Understand that it's never too late to modify your habits. Begin by becoming aware of your routines and their impacts. Small, conscious adjustments can lead to significant changes over time, empowering you to take control. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Relying on habit alone to keep us going ignores the fluctuations in human motivation and emotion. Habits can become monotonous, and without renewed inspiration, they might not sustain us in the long run. Regularly revisit your goals and reasons behind your habits to keep them meaningful. Incorporate variety and allow yourself to seek new sources of motivation. Balance routine with spontaneity to maintain enthusiasm. Good habits are worth being fanatical about. Being fanatical can lead to obsession, potentially causing stress or burnout. It suggests that moderation isn't acceptable, which can be unhealthy and unsustainable over time. Aim for consistency rather than fanaticism. Practice your good habits with dedication, but also allow room for balance in your life. Prioritize well-being over perfection to maintain long-term success. The secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. This implies that our future is entirely determined by our current routines, neglecting the unpredictable nature of life. It can create anxiety about making every moment productive. While routines are important, it's also essential to remain open to new experiences and opportunities. Allow flexibility in your schedule to explore and adapt. Remember that growth often happens outside of our comfort zones. You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. This puts immense pressure on daily actions, suggesting that any day without change is a missed opportunity. It can lead to guilt over not constantly optimizing every aspect of life. Recognize that meaningful change often happens gradually. Set realistic goals and introduce small adjustments to your routine. Give yourself grace on days when change doesn't happen, and trust the process over time. Habit is a cable. We weave a thread of it each day, and at last we cannot break it. Viewing habits as unbreakable cables can make change seem impossible, fostering a defeatist attitude. It underestimates human capacity for transformation at any stage of life. Believe in your ability to alter even the most ingrained habits. Seek support when needed and break down the process into manageable steps. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. A man who can't bear to share his habits is a man who needs to quit them. This assumes that all private habits are negative, disregarding personal boundaries and the value of solitude. It can unfairly label private individuals as secretive or in need of change. Reflect on your habits privately and assess whether they align with your values. It's okay to keep certain aspects of your life personal. Change habits based on your own judgments, not external expectations. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. Elevating quality to the level of a habit can make the pursuit of excellence feel overwhelming. It suggests that slipping even once means lacking true quality, which ignores the human capacity for fluctuation and error. This perspective can lead to unnecessary stress over maintaining constant perfection. Embrace quality as a guiding principle rather than an unbreakable habit. Allow yourself the grace to make mistakes and view them as learning opportunities. Focus on consistently doing your best while understanding that perfection is neither attainable nor necessary for genuine progress. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out. Framing success solely as relentless daily effort can make life seem like an endless grind, diminishing the joy in spontaneity and rest. It overlooks the importance of meaningful pauses and the potential burnout from continuous exertion without reprieve. Balance your pursuit of success with self-care and downtime. Acknowledge that rest and reflection are integral to sustainable achievement. By integrating periods of relaxation, you rejuvenate your capacity to make those small, consistent efforts truly effective. Your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. Reducing one's value to a simple equation of habits can feel dehumanizing. It fails to account for intrinsic worth beyond actions and behaviors, potentially leading to a harsh self-assessment that neglects personal growth and intentions. Recognize that your value isn't solely determined by a balance sheet of habits. Focus on cultivating self-awareness and compassion towards yourself. Work on enhancing your good habits while understanding that imperfections are part of being human and don't define your entire worth. The difference between an amateur and a professional is in their habits. This dichotomy oversimplifies the complexities of expertise and can undervalue the passion and creativity often found in amateurs. Implies that professionalism is merely a set of habits, disregarding talent, opportunity, and individual circumstances. Instead of fixating on labels, strive to develop habits that align with your goals and values. Whether amateur or professional, Focus on continuous learning and personal fulfillment. Allow your unique journey to define your success rather than conforming to external standards. The key to forming good habits is to make them part of your identity. Tying habits directly to identity can create internal conflict when trying to change. It may lead to feelings of failure or a fractured sense of self when struggling to maintain certain habits, making change more daunting. View habits as actions you choose rather than fixed aspects of who you are. This perspective allows for flexibility and growth without self-judgment. Embrace the idea that your identity evolves, and it's okay for your habits to evolve with it. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. While encouraging patience, this outlook might cause impatience or discouragement when results aren't immediately visible. It can also make daily life feel monotonous, potentially draining enthusiasm and motivation. Set short-term milestones to celebrate progress along the way to larger goals. Keep your daily disciplines engaging by periodically reassessing and adjusting them. Remember that enjoying the journey is as important as the destination. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Viewing habits through a financial lens might reduce the personal and emotional aspects of self-improvement. It can make personal growth feel transactional and impersonal, potentially diminishing intrinsic motivation. Infuse your habits with purpose and personal meaning beyond measurable gains. Focus on the joy and fulfillment that come from self-improvement activities. Let your growth be guided by passion as much as by strategy. You leave old habits behind by starting out with the thought, "I release the need for this in my life." This approach may oversimplify the challenge of breaking habits, especially those rooted in deep-seated issues. It suggests that mere thought is sufficient, which can lead to frustration when change doesn't happen effortlessly. Combine mindful intention with actionable steps to change habits. Seek support if needed, and be patient with yourself throughout the process. Understand that releasing old habits often requires effort, persistence, and sometimes professional guidance. It is easier to prevent bad habits than to break them. This notion can feel discouraging to those already struggling with ingrained habits, implying that their efforts to change are futile or exceptionally difficult. It might foster regret over past actions rather than hope for future change. Focus on the present and what you can do now rather than dwelling on missed opportunities for prevention. Breaking a habit is challenging but achievable with commitment and support. Empower yourself by taking proactive steps toward change today. Bad habits are like a comfortable bed, easy to get into, but hard to get out of. Comparing bad habits to comfort can inadvertently justify staying in them, emphasizing the difficulty of change over the benefits of improvement. It might reinforce a passive acceptance of undesirable behaviors. Acknowledge the comfort that bad habits may provide and explore healthier alternatives that fulfill the same needs. Create an action plan with attainable goals to transition out of these habits. Remind yourself of the positive outcomes that change can bring to motivate your efforts. Your habits will determine your future. This statement places immense pressure on individuals to perfect their habits, implying that any misstep could jeopardize their entire future. It overlooks the unpredictability of life and external factors beyond our control. Such a deterministic view might induce anxiety rather than motivation, as it suggests our destiny is rigidly fixed by our current routines. While habits do influence our paths, it's essential to remain adaptable and open to change. Focus on cultivating positive habits, but also develop resilience to navigate unforeseen circumstances. Remember that it's okay to adjust your course as you grow and learn. Your future is shaped by both your actions and your ability to adapt. Habit is second nature. Equating habit to second nature can downplay the complexity of changing ingrained behaviors. It implies that once a habit is formed, it's almost an inherent part of us, making change seem daunting or unattainable. This perspective might discourage people from attempting to break free from negative patterns. Acknowledge that while habits can feel instinctual, they're still learned behaviors that can be modified. Empower yourself by recognizing your capacity for change. Start by becoming aware of your habits and consciously practicing new behaviors until they become your new second nature. You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and surely your habits will change your future. This paradoxical statement can be confusing and possibly disheartening. Claiming you cannot change your future contradicts the idea that changing habits will alter it. It might suggest that efforts to improve are futile unless they align perfectly with a predetermined destiny. Focus on the aspects of your life you can influence. By adopting positive habits, you open up new possibilities and directions for your future. Embrace the power you have over your actions today, trusting that they contribute to shaping a better tomorrow. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. This binary view reduces complex situations to simply winning or losing, potentially stigmatizing those who face setbacks. It implies that failure is a habitual state rather than a natural part of growth and learning. Such a perspective might discourage risk-taking and innovation due to fear of being labeled a loser. Redefine what winning and losing mean to you. Treat challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning rather than as failures. Cultivate habits of perseverance, resilience, and continuous improvement. Remember that success often involves overcoming numerous obstacles along the way. If you're going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception, it is a prevailing attitude. This idea can create an overwhelming sense that one must be excellent in every small detail, potentially leading to perfectionism. It may cause undue stress over minor imperfections, detracting from overall well-being and satisfaction. Strive for excellence by setting realistic standards and prioritizing what's truly important. Focus on cultivating a positive attitude and doing your best without fixating on perfection. Allow yourself room for mistakes and growth, understanding that excellence is a journey, not an absolute. The habits that took years to build do not take a day to change. While acknowledging the difficulty of change, this statement might discourage individuals from even attempting to alter long-standing habits. It emphasizes the length of the process, which can feel discouraging for those seeking immediate improvement. Accept that meaningful change takes time and be patient with yourself throughout the process. Set incremental goals and celebrate small victories along the way. Remember that every step you take toward changing a habit is progress, no matter how small it may seem. Make it a habit to tell people thank you, to express your appreciation, sincerely, and without the expectation of anything in return. While expressing gratitude is valuable, making it a habitual action could risk it becoming a hollow routine. If not done mindfully, it might lose its sincerity and impact, turning meaningful appreciation into mere politeness. Practice mindful gratitude by genuinely reflecting on what you're thankful for. Take the time to personalize your expressions of appreciation, ensuring they come from the heart. This approach enhances your connections with others and enriches your own sense of fulfillment. Our character is basically a composite of our habits. Because they are consistent, often unconscious patterns, they constantly, daily, express our character. Defining character solely by habits may neglect the depth and complexity of human nature. It reduces our identity to patterns of behavior, overlooking our thoughts, intentions, and capacity for change. This view might make individuals feel trapped by their current habits. Recognize that while habits reflect aspects of your character, they do not define you entirely. Engage in self-reflection to understand the motivations behind your habits. Work on aligning your behaviors with your values and aspirations, knowing that you have the power to evolve. Habits are at first cobwebs, then cables. This metaphor suggests that habits start weak but become unbreakable over time, implying an inevitable loss of control. It can instill fear that if we don't address habits early, we may become powerless to change them later, which can feel intimidating. Understand that no matter how strong a habit feels, it can be changed with effort and determination. Begin by acknowledging the habit and its impact on your life. Seek support if needed, and break the change process into manageable steps to gradually weaken the cables. In essence, if we want to direct our lives, we must take control of our consistent actions. It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. This perspective might cause anxiety over every action, emphasizing that only consistent behaviors matter. It could diminish the value of spontaneous moments and one-time efforts, suggesting they have little impact on our lives. While consistency is important, recognize the value in occasional actions and experiences. They can bring joy, inspiration, and meaningful change. Strive for balance by establishing positive routines while also embracing spontaneity and new opportunities that enrich your life. The secret to permanently breaking any bad habit is to love something greater than the habit. While this quote suggests that loving something more can override bad habits, it oversimplifies the complexities of habit formation and addiction. It implies that sheer affection or passion can dismantle deeply ingrained behaviors, disregarding the psychological and physiological factors that often require more than just love to overcome. This perspective might set unrealistic expectations, leading to guilt or frustration when love alone doesn't suffice to break a habit. Recognize that breaking bad habits often requires a multifaceted approach, including self-awareness, support systems, and sometimes professional help. Identify the underlying triggers of your habits and address them directly. While finding motivation in things you care about is beneficial, complement this with practical strategies like setting achievable goals, creating new routines, and seeking guidance when necessary. Sow a thought and you reap an act. Sow an act and you reap a habit. Sow a habit and you reap a character. Sow a character and you reap a destiny. This quote suggests a linear progression from thought to destiny, implying that we have absolute control over our fate based on our thoughts and habits. It overlooks external factors and random events that significantly influence our lives. Such a deterministic view can place undue pressure on individuals to monitor every thought and action meticulously, potentially leading to anxiety and a sense of failure when things don't go as planned. While it's important to cultivate positive thoughts and habits, also accept that not everything is within your control. Focus on what you can influence and build resilience to navigate unforeseen challenges. Allow yourself flexibility and understand that life's journey is not a straight path. Embrace adaptability and learn from experiences rather than striving for an unrealistic level of control over your destiny. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. Relying heavily on discipline can make personal growth feel like a rigid, joyless endeavor. This mindset might diminish the value of inspiration, creativity, and rest, suggesting that only strict self-control leads to progress. Such an approach can lead to burnout and reduce the overall enjoyment of pursuing one's goals. Balance discipline with self-compassion and flexibility. Allow motivation and passion to guide you, and let discipline provide structure without becoming oppressive. Incorporate breaks and activities that rejuvenate you. Recognize that growth also comes from exploring new ideas and allowing yourself the freedom to adjust your path as you evolve. The second half of a man's life is made up of nothing but the habits he has acquired during the first half. This perspective can be discouraging, implying that personal growth and change become nearly impossible later in life. It suggests that we're bound by our early habits, potentially fostering a fatalistic outlook. This can undermine efforts to reinvent oneself or pursue new passions at any age. Embrace the idea that it's never too late to develop new habits and reshape your life. Lifelong learning and personal development are always within reach. Challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone and seek new experiences that inspire growth regardless of your age. Believe in your capacity to change and adapt throughout your entire life. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This quote can be disheartening by suggesting that despite our aspirations, we'll only achieve what our current systems allow. It may lead to overemphasis on perfecting systems rather than cultivating ambition and dreaming big. This viewpoint might stifle creativity and discourage people from setting lofty goals that inspire them. While effective systems are important, don't let them limit your vision. Use your goals to drive innovation in how you approach challenges. Regularly assess and adjust your systems to align with your evolving objectives. Allow yourself to dream big and let your aspirations motivate you to develop the structures needed to achieve them. Nothing is stronger than habit. Claiming that nothing surpasses the power of habit can make changing behaviors seem insurmountable. It may instill a sense of helplessness, suggesting that once a habit is formed, we're powerless against it. This fatalistic view can deter individuals from attempting to alter detrimental habits or form new, positive ones. Recognize that while habits are powerful, they are not unchangeable. Empower yourself by understanding that with conscious effort and persistence, you can reshape your behaviors. Utilize strategies like mindfulness, habit tracking, and seeking support to facilitate change. Celebrate small successes to build momentum toward overcoming even the strongest habits. Cultivate only the habits that you are willing should master you. This quote implies that our habits inevitably control us, which can be an unsettling thought. It suggests a loss of agency, as if once a habit is formed, we become subservient to it. This perspective may cause anxiety over developing any habits at all, fearing unintended consequences. Approach habit formation with mindfulness and intentionality. Reflect on how your habits align with your values and long-term goals. Remember that you maintain control over your actions and can adjust your habits as needed. View habits as tools that serve you, not as masters that dictate your life. We become what we repeatedly do. This statement reduces our identity to our actions, ignoring the complexity of our thoughts, emotions, and inherent traits. It suggests a deterministic view where change is only possible through altering actions, potentially neglecting the importance of self-reflection and internal growth. Recognize that personal development involves both actions and inner work. Engage in practices that nurture your mind and spirit, such as meditation or journaling. Understand that who you are encompasses more than just your behaviors. Strive for balance between doing and being, allowing both your actions and introspection to shape your evolution. Habit is the enormous flywheel of society, its most precious conservative agent. Viewing habit as a conservative force suggests that it resists change and maintains the status quo. This perspective might imply that habits hinder progress and innovation, potentially discouraging individuals from questioning societal norms or pursuing transformative ideas. While acknowledging the stabilizing role of habits, also cultivate a critical mindset. Challenge existing patterns when they no longer serve you or society positively. Encourage creativity and openness to new ways of thinking. Balance respect for valuable traditions with a willingness to evolve and adapt for the betterment of yourself and your community. Successful people aren't born that way. They become successful by establishing the habit of doing things unsuccessful people don't like to do. This quote creates an us versus them mentality, suggesting that successful people are defined by their willingness to endure unpleasant tasks. It may overlook the diverse paths to success and the importance of aligning actions with one's passions and strengths. This perspective could lead to unnecessary self-sacrifice and neglect of personal well-being. Define success on your own terms and focus on activities that align with your values and interests. While discipline is important, it's also crucial to find joy and purpose in what you do. Seek efficiency and smart strategies rather than simply forcing yourself through undesirable tasks. Prioritize your well-being and remember that success is multifaceted and personal. Good habits formed at youth make all the difference. This statement suggests that if you didn't establish good habits when you were young, you've potentially missed your chance to make a significant impact on your life. It overlooks the possibility of personal growth and change at any age, which can be discouraging to those striving to improve later in life. Such a viewpoint might lead people to believe that their past defines their future irreversibly. Recognize that it's never too late to develop good habits. Start by identifying areas you want to improve and set realistic, achievable goals. Embrace lifelong learning and self-improvement, understanding that every positive change you make now contributes to your future well-being. Your past does not limit your potential for growth today. We first make our habits, and then our habits make us. This quote implies a one-way path, where our initial choices set an unchangeable course for who we become. It can make individuals feel trapped by their past decisions, fostering a sense of helplessness if they believe their current habits are undesirable. Such a deterministic view ignores our capacity for self-awareness and transformation. Take ownership of your ability to reshape your habits and, consequently, yourself. Reflect on which habits serve you and which don't, and make conscious efforts to adjust them. Remember that personal growth is an ongoing process, and you have the power to redefine who you are through the choices you make every day. If you make listening and observation your occupation, you will gain much more than you can by talk. While valuing listening and observation, this perspective might discourage people from expressing themselves and sharing their ideas. It could lead to self-silencing, particularly among those who already struggle with speaking up. Communication is a two-way street, and exclusively listening may limit active participation and the sharing of valuable insights. Strive for a balance between listening and speaking. Engage actively in conversations by both absorbing others' perspectives and contributing your own thoughts. Cultivate effective communication skills that include attentive listening and thoughtful expression, allowing for mutual understanding and personal growth. Good habits are as addictive as bad habits and a lot more rewarding. This statement suggests that forming good habits is just as easy and compelling as falling into bad ones, which can oversimplify the challenges involved. It may minimize the effort required to establish positive routines, leading to frustration when people find it difficult to adopt new behaviors. Acknowledge that forming good habits takes time, effort, and persistence. Be patient with yourself during this process and celebrate small victories. Focus on the long-term benefits of positive habits and create a supportive environment that encourages and reinforces these behaviors over time. The habit of persistence is the habit of victory. Equating persistence directly with victory might imply that any lack of success is due to insufficient perseverance. It overlooks external factors and the reality that sometimes, despite persistent effort, success may not come as expected. This viewpoint can lead to self-blame and burnout. Practice persistence while also being mindful of when to reassess your approach. Set realistic goals and be willing to adapt your strategies in response to feedback and changing circumstances. Recognize that persistence is valuable, but so is flexibility and self-care in the pursuit of your objectives. The successful person makes a habit of doing what the failing person doesn't like to do. This quote creates a divide between successful and failing people based solely on their willingness to do unpleasant tasks. It ignores individual differences, circumstances, and the variety of paths to success. Such a perspective can foster judgment and reduce complex human experiences to simplistic comparisons. Define success on your own terms and focus on developing habits that align with your values and goals. Instead of comparing yourself to others, identify areas where you can grow and tasks that, while challenging, contribute meaningfully to your progress. Cultivate discipline, but also ensure that your efforts are purposeful and fulfilling. Habits change into character. Suggesting that habits solidify into character might make people worry that their current behaviors permanently define them. It could lead to anxiety over making mistakes or engaging in undesirable habits, fostering a fear that these actions irreversibly shape one's identity. Understand that while habits influence your character, you have the ongoing ability to evolve and redefine yourself. Engage in self-reflection to recognize which habits support the person you aspire to be. Actively work on adopting positive behaviors, knowing that character development is a continuous journey. Don't let your habits become handcuffs. This metaphor can instill fear that habits inherently lead to entrapment, potentially discouraging the formation of beneficial routines. It might cause people to avoid establishing consistent practices altogether, out of concern that they will lose flexibility or freedom. Build habits that enhance your life rather than restrict it. Regularly evaluate your routines to ensure they still serve your goals and well-being. Maintain a balance between structure and spontaneity, allowing yourself the freedom to adapt and make changes as needed. The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. This quote emphasizes intense focus as the key to success, which can be overwhelming and unrealistic for many. It might suggest that without such singular concentration, one cannot achieve greatness, potentially disregarding the value of diverse interests and a balanced life. While focus is important, recognize that it's also essential to nurture various aspects of your life. Set clear priorities, but allow yourself time for rest, relationships, and personal interests. Develop the ability to concentrate when needed while maintaining a healthy balance that supports overall well-being. Habits are powerful but delicate. They can grow slowly, but can be torn apart suddenly. This perspective might create anxiety about the fragility of our positive habits, suggesting that all our efforts can be undone quickly. It could lead to fear of setbacks and discourage people from trying to build new habits if they believe they can be easily broken. Accept that setbacks are a natural part of the habit-building process. If a habit is disrupted, view it as an opportunity to recommit rather than as a failure. Strengthen your habits by understanding your triggers and developing strategies to navigate challenges. Remember that resilience comes from consistently returning to your desired behaviors.